Hello, hello, this is Heather, aka Planner Mumsy. Join me as we talk about something a little bit controversial. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, so I was waiting to do this video because it wasn't really something I wanted to talk about, and I guess maybe I just wasn't ready to talk about it, but I figured, you know what, I need to just rip it off like a band-aid and let's do it. So some of you may know that for quite a while now, I have been an ambassador for Ferris Wheel Press. And what does that mean? Basically what it means is I would get free product from Ferris Wheel Press to do 4 posts, whether they would be on basically across all my social media, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I don't have a TikTok, but if I did, TikTok, blah, blah, blah. I only have an Instagram and I only have a YouTube, and otherwise that's enough social media for me. I am not a social media fan, and so I do my best to limit as much as I can. Obviously, especially when you're an ambassador or anything like that, you have to have some social media presence in order to be an ambassador. But I was getting a bit overwhelmed, and some of the overwhelming has to do with the product. Like, so every single month they would send, and they were very, very generous. So definitely by no means try and necessarily take this in a negative way, but I would get generally an ink bottle of this size and an ink bottle of this size at minimum every single month. And I'll show you, oh no, hang on. That's not even, well, I mean, this was one of the ones that I got, but this is not ink. This was more like a calligraphy paint kind of thing. Hang on, let me grab one of these little bottles. So I would get one of these, and then I would get one of these. Well, a lot of their product that they would send has this beautiful, gorgeous kind of shimmery ink in it. And like this one's the same. You can see it here. But here's the thing. I can't really, other than swatching, I can't really use those inks a whole lot in a lot of my pens because they gum up my feeds and I'm constantly cleaning them. I'm constantly having issues with them not working right because my feeds are getting gummed up. And so it definitely was a lot of product I couldn't use. Like, I could show it, but I couldn't really use it a whole lot because of that. And again, like, it's beautiful. And if you have some like stub nibs and stuff like that, this kind of ink is absolutely gorgeous for doing kind of calligraphy type writing. You get to see so much variation, but that's not me. You know, I don't do calligraphy. My handwriting sucks. I mean, real bad. So I had to like really start thinking about it. Like, I'm getting all this stuff and there's so much of it I can't even use because it's too shimmery. It's, you know, it's too this, it's too that. Or even like, you know, this one that I just showed you, or no, sorry, it was this one. I don't use stuff like that. So I was getting, first of all, inundated with product. Now, some people would be like, girl, what are you complaining about? At least you were getting a bunch of free stuff. You're absolutely right. And, you know, again, this is why I hesitate to do this video. I'm not complaining per se. It just was, I'm sort of in a place in my life where I felt like I only want to be super intentional about the stuff that I'm bringing in to my space. And all this is just adding stuff, adding stuff, adding stuff. And it's stuff that I can't necessarily use a whole lot. I do have a few pens that I can use, you know, these types of inks with, but again, they're not pens that I use a whole lot. Okay. So there's that. So that was kind of one issue. The other issue was when I get products that I really can't stand behind, how do I, and you know, you're obligated to basically talk about them and to glorify them and make them look good and make them look pretty. So here's an example. Now, when it comes to Ferris Wheel Press's other fountain pens, and I'm just they call them brush pens, which are these, which coincidentally, I never got any of these for free. I'm thinking, no, I never got any of these for free. So the ones that are like this that I have, I purchased with my own money, and I never received any of these for free. What I would receive for free from Ferris Wheel Press was their carousel pens. Here is the 411 raw, nitty gritty, and maybe it's not going to be well received, but I'm just going to put it out there because I am an honest reviewer. These pens suck. So they're super cheesy. They're super plasticky. They break easy. They fall apart easy. Yeah, you know, they have a basic converter that works well enough, but I've had issues with them getting airbound and just leaking everywhere. These pens are not good quality, and I would get a lot of these and then I would have to like talk about them. And it's like, how do you be nice when it's a product that you really just can't stand behind, right? Like, how do you talk about something that you just think is trash? And I'm just saying it, and I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, some of these companies are going to have some really good products. Again, I do like their regular metal lineup brush pens, but I don't like these plasticky, super cheesy carousel pens. And I mean, generally these things are like $30, $40. You know, this thing's not worth $1 in my opinion. I mean, it is just that bad. So that was another issue I was running into with Ferris Wheel Press, was that there were things that I was getting that I just really struggled to stand behind. Now, you know, they told us to give them feedback. I would try and give feedback, but I never would hear back from anybody. I always would just kind of get these canned messages like, thanks, you know, for contacting us, blah, 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 which is fine. It's not like I'm some big content creator and I have some huge influence in the sphere of fountain pens, because I'm realistic and I'm humble enough to know that I don't. Okay. I have 3,000 subscribers. And on average, I have between 300 and 1,500 people watch, you know, my video, depending on the content and depending on what people, you know, want to watch during that time, and if it's popular enough or if it hit the algorithm good enough. So I'm not, you know, I have no vain notions in thinking that I am some kind of big influencer. But the reality was, at the end of the day, when it comes to being an ambassador for products, I just had to come to the conclusion that if I can't stand behind a product, then I just can't promote it, you know, because I don't want to promote crap, and I don't want to tell people, like, the most that I could say is, color's beautiful. pen sucks, but the color's beautiful. I just really was struggling with that because it was like, what do you do? You know, I mean, I don't want to be disingenuous on my channel. I don't want my channel to become like an infomercial of things. And I really was starting to feel like I was pushing that limit. I was pushing the infomercial line. And for me, that's not me. That's not how I roll. That's not what I prefer. Now, at the end of the day, does Ferris Wheel Press put out some decent products? Absolutely. Love their pen lineup. Even the new ones. I have some new blue ones that have like a texture on them. Gorgeous. They're really, really pretty looking. And I know that, you know, the quality is going to be about the same. I mean, it's a decent little writer. It's probably still, in my opinion, not quite worth the price that they ask for them, just being honest, but they're a decent little writer and I have no problem, you know, with these types of pens. The carousel pen, ditch it. Throw it out of the line. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. Blech. No, just don't even bother anymore. They have a pretty decent ink line. They definitely are very creative in their ink and their stories behind their ink. Do people read the stories behind the ink? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, it's a little bit of a gimmicky kind of thing. You know, they come out with some other things too, like they've come out with some like leather products. Again, in my opinion, which I have not, I mean, full disclosure, I was supposed to receive one of the leather products from doing early posting. So they were supposed to send them to me and I never got one. Which is fine. I wasn't going to complain. It was what it was. They were somewhat limited on who they were giving them to. They tried to get content creators to get their content out early. I did, you know, what I was asked to do, but it wasn't delivered to me. But it is what it is. But they're like little leather folio things. They're pretty pricey. And I obviously haven't had one in my hand to touch to know if the quality of it matches the price that they're asking for it. I don't know that. These pens, I will say, are a little bit pricey. The inks, I mean, they have sales all the time. So the inks, I would say, with the sales are pretty much priced on par for what you would pay for a lot of inks. I personally, and this is totally just my opinion, it's not a knock on Ferris Wheel Press in any way, but I do feel like they go a little too far with the shimmer, personally. But I kind of feel the same about a couple other companies out there like Diamine and stuff like that, and like their advent calendars. Most of the inks that you get from that are not inks that I really enjoy because they're just too shimmery. So it's not necessarily a isolated Ferris Wheel Press thing. You can get, you know, the water-based ones that are more like this. And I don't think, here's the thing, is shimmer is kind of like their niche, right? Like, I feel like these inks are the best in their line, but they're not ones that I use a whole lot. Whereas their water-based inks, they're okay. I don't tend to go to them a whole ton. They're not bad, but they're not great. You know what I'm saying? So for the money, you can get a lot of other water-based inks for around the same price that are a little bit better. And it is what it is. In my opinion, as far as the water-based ink, there are a lot of other mid-range inks out there for the price point that I like better. But again, totally personal preference. I still think, you know, that Ferris Wheel Press makes a solid ink. And I'm not going to take any of that away from them. The last thing for me, which was the kicker and was why I was just like, okay, I'm done, was we recently received emails as ambassadors telling us that we had to allow this third-party company to be able to link to our social media accounts. Like, we legit needed to give them permission to have access to our social media accounts, and they needed to be able to get into them in order to be able to see what we had promoted in that month. And for me, I am definitely a my business is my business kind of deal, and I don't need some third-party company that I have no idea who they are being in my business. And so that didn't sit well with me, and I know that that's kind of the direction it's going for a lot of this content creation type stuff. They want to have access to it, so it makes it easier for them to monitor you and make sure you're actually doing your part to promote the company that they're giving you the free stuff for. In some respects, I understand that, but you know, every single month we used to have to physically turn in like we would have to link our videos, link our Instagram posts and all that stuff to prove to them that we had done it before we could get the new ink or pen or whatever. So for me, I felt like that was adequate enough. Allowing a third-party company to come in and literally kind of take control of my accounts didn't sit well with me. And so ultimately, that was why I ended up parting ways with Ferris Wheel Press. It didn't feel right to just hand over like my password for my YouTube account that I literally have worked for 6 years for to some random company I know nothing about, and I know nothing about their security. I know nothing about any of that. Granted, again, I know I have this like teeny little account, but I have busted my backside to do what I've done, even to get to 3,000, because the YouTube algorithm is really tough, and it's tough to kind of crack into. And, you know, I don't make but $15 to at the most $30 in a month doing the videos that I do. So it's not monetarily worth it right now, but it's still like a labor of love that I really struggled with just handing over and giving that opportunity to. Again, a lot of people will say, oh no, you're not, they don't have access to it that way. If you really read the fine print, they really did. So I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm just not doing this. And with that launch for that month with the new company, the products weren't coming in either. And so I was like, so I'm doing all this work now and not getting products. And I know some other fellow content creators that did put in all the time and didn't end up getting their products. So I'm not really sure where Ferris Wheel Press is with that right now. And maybe it was just a product hiccup for one single month and it's not going to happen again. But definitely just was not something I just had to be done. I just had to be done. I had to not get all the things. I had to not have to promote things that I can't stand behind. And I just couldn't give some random third-party company that you never even discussed, because Ferris Wheel Press didn't come to us as ambassadors and say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. What are your thoughts? No, they literally launched an email and said, if you want to continue with us, this is what you have to do. And if you don't do it, you're done. And I just was kind of like, maybe this is an opening to just be done. So what does my future hold with being an ambassador for any company? I'm not really sure yet. I think it's changed for me, for sure. I really would have to make sure that I could agree to what I'm signing up for from here on out, as far as what is expected of me and what I would be doing in the future, you know, for that particular company. You know, and then there's a lot of like background things, like, you know, is this a company that is just a good, you know, standalone company? Or are they like a big company that I'm just going to be another, you know, influencer number and it's not really going to matter? I don't know really what that's going to look like for me in the future. But again, here's the reality. I don't have some big channel where people are knocking on my door asking me to review stuff and to do this stuff all the time. And that's okay. But you know why? Because I like to come on here and talk about the stuff that I enjoy. And I like to be honest about the stuff that I enjoy. My channel has always and will always be about transparency. And I don't want to put content out that's misleading to anybody in the pen and or planner community. I want to put out educational type things that can help other people make informed decisions, and that's really what I'm here for. That's it. That's what I use YouTube for, and so that's really why I have this channel and why I do what I do. So yeah, so all of that to say, I am no longer promoting Ferris Wheel Press products. You will still see Ferris Wheel Press products in my inks and such, because, and sometimes, you know, even in a currently inked video, I will still buy from them now and again. I do feel like their shipping is a little ridiculous, but you know, that's okay. I will still continue to buy from them, but again, it's going to be a very intentional buy, and it's not going to be a, oh, I just have to have that, because it's going to have to really speak to me in order for me to spend my coin to purchase it. But otherwise, yeah, that is all I had to say. I mean, you know, it may or may not be controversial. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of people still promoting Ferris Wheel Press out there that did sign up for this extra account and have no problem doing that. Totally great. Totally fine on them. And, you know, we can just watch them and see all the new stuff coming out for the month before. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of take a back burner on any ambassador program or promotion program of any kind, and just going to be intentional about my purchases and buy what it is that I love, and I'll show you guys what I love. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of my channel, for just, you know, being here even when I have to be real. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!